Heading into the 2024 season, it looked to be a crucial prove-it year for Mario Cristobal and the Miami Hurricanes. For the past few years, it was always this is the year the U comes back, yet the team would never live up to expectations. Miami was 12-13 under Cristobal heading into the season, and could match his win totals by year's end, as they look extremely dangerous. This is the rise of Miami under Mario Cristobal. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know who you think wins the ACC in the comment section below. When Miami hired Mario Cristobal to be their head coach, there were some high expectations, as many expected him to bring them back to their glory days. This was the U, the school that won 5 national titles from 1983 to 2001 under Howard Schnellenberger, Jimmy Johnson, Dennis Erickson, and Larry Coker. Yet, since that 2001 season, they were only within striking distance of the national title in 2002 and 2003 before their move to the ACC. Since then, they have not won a conference title, and their highest final AP ranking came in 2017 when they went 10-3 and lost in the Orange Bowl under head coach Mark Richt. Manny Diaz served as head coach for Miami from 2019 to 2021, putting together a 21-15 record before being fired, leading to the Cristobal hiring. Cristobal was a big name get for the Miami Hurricanes, as he had attended school there and was building a monster of a program out in Oregon. After playing for Miami in NFL Europe, Cristobal returned to Miami as a graduate assistant. He then spent time at Rutgers before returning to the U for 3 more seasons, serving as their tight end coach and offensive line coach under Coker. That would lead to his first head coaching job, as he would be named FIU's second ever head football coach and the first Cuban American head football coach at the Division I level. Cristobal built a winless program the year before he arrived and had been 15-41 for its first 5 seasons of existence, and Cristobal took them to their first conference title in their first bowl game and bowl victory in 2010. He followed that up with an 8-5 record, but following a 3-9 season in 2012, he would be fired, finishing with a 27-47 record at FIU. The decision by athletic director Pete Garcia was not a popular one, but may have led to Cristobal becoming one of the best coaches in college football, as he would join the Alabama coaching staff in 2013, serving as the GOAT Nick Saban's assistant head coach, offensive line coach, and recruiting coordinator. While Cristobal was at Alabama, the Crimson Tide finished with the best-ranked recruiting class the 4 years he was there. He was named National Recruiter of the Year in 2015 and finished second in 2016. He also coached one of the best offensive lines in the nation. He would leave Alabama to become Willie Taggart's co-offensive coordinator and offensive line coach at Oregon, and would take over as head coach when Taggart bolted to Florida State. While at Oregon, he won 2 Pac-12 titles, a Rose Bowl, and had 2 double-digit winning seasons, going 35-13, and it looked like Oregon was putting together something special. That was until he shocked the world and bolted to his alma mater, Miami. Miami struggled in year 1 under Mario Cristobal, going 5-7. It was a rough year with a lot of growing pains. They lost on the road to Texas A&M 17-9, and then got blown out by Middle Tennessee State 45-31 at home the following week, for their bye week, and a close loss to North Carolina 27-24. The team never stopped fighting, as they went into Virginia Tech and beat the Hokies 20-14, before getting blown out at home once again, this time by Duke 45-21, for a 4 overtime victory on the road against Virginia. They would end the year losing 3 of their last 4 games, 2 of which were blowout losses at home to Florida State and Pittsburgh 45-3 and 42-16 respectively, and also lost to Clemson on the road 40-10. Their lone win during that period was a 35-14 victory over Georgia Tech. They finished with a record of 2-5 at home, being outscored at home 224-195. 100 of those points came in their 70-13 victory over Bethune-Cookman and 30-7 victory over Southern Miss in their first 2 weeks. Meaning in their final 5 home games, they were outscored 204-95 at home. There was some panic around the program, but everyone knew to trust the process. If there was going to be a head coach who could turn Miami's fortunes around, it would be Coach Cristobal. While 7-6 record in 2023 was not what many were expecting, as some were considering Miami a playoff dark horse, the record could have been completely different, as they went 2-3 during the regular season in 1-score games. The way they lost to Georgia Tech should have never happened, as they should have just taken a knee rather than running the ball, and a 41-31 loss to North Carolina, as well as a 20-6 loss to NC State hurt their season. Games they should have won, but just couldn't put it all together. But they say it takes 3 to 5 years for a rebuild to be complete in college football. Year 3 is when your hand-picked recruits can start to perform, as they enter their junior years, and your sophomores and freshmen are all your guys. Cristobal did not just jump into the transfer portal and try to get a handful of different guys. He built through the high school ranks, and that takes time, though he did supplement the roster with some playmakers via the transfer portal. The two biggest additions this past transfer portal cycle have to be former Houston Baptist and Washington State quarterback Cam Ward, looks to be maybe the best quarterback in college football right now, and Oregon State running back Damian Martinez, both of which were 4-star transfers. They also added edge Tyler Barron and wide receiver Sam Brown as well. Cristobal focused on building up the trenches on both sides of the ball, and that has really shown this year. They have an impressive 5-star freshman showing out at offensive tackle. Inez Cooper has developed into one of the best guards in the ACC after being a former 3-star recruit in Cristobal's first recruiting class. The offensive line has done their job well this year. Miami started off the season with a bang, crushing Florida 41-17 in the Swamp, putting the college football world on notice. Cam Ward showed why he was the real deal, throwing for 385 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. The defensive line also got after Florida quarterback Graham Mertz, sacking him 3 times and forcing both Mertz and DJ Lagway to throw an interception. Miami didn't just win the game, they beat the Florida Gators into submission, outgaining them 529 yards to 261 yards. They then destroyed both Florida A&M and Ball State 56-9 and 62-0 respectively. In the Ball State game, Miami outgained the Cardinals 750 yards to 115 yards. While the USF game was a close game at half, at a score of 22-15, the Hurricanes would pull away in the second half to win 50-15, outscoring the Bulls 28-0 in the second half. While there was a controversial finish on Friday during the Miami-Virginia Tech game, the Hurricanes came out of the scare with a win, but sort of exposed how to beat the juggernaut that seemed to be Miami. They got to Cam Ward, sacking him 3 times, and if it were not for some magic on Ward's part, could have sacked him at least a 4th time. They also forced Ward to throw 2 interceptions as well. Virginia Tech also ran the ball extremely well, on Miami rushing for 206 yards on the ground. The controversial call at the end of the game led to Miami winning, though, 38-34. Miami has been winning due to their performance on both lines of scrimmage. For the Virginia Tech game, the offensive line had only allowed Ward to be sacked twice, and the defense had taken the quarterback down 18 times over the first 5 games. The offense has been averaging nearly 400 passing yards a game and 193 rushing yards a game, while the defense has only allowed 93 rushing yards and 172 passing yards a game. The defense is also averaging nearly 2 interceptions a game, with Michelle Powell leading the team with 3 interceptions this season. Miami travels to Cal this weekend, where College Game Day is being hosted, and then will have their bye week followed by a road trip to Louisville. They then host Florida State and a sneaky good Duke team at home before traveling to Atlanta to take on Georgia Tech. They then close out the season hosting Wake Forest at home and traveling to Syracuse, New York to take on Syracuse to close out the regular season. They are far and away the favorites to make it to the ACC championship game and are the favorites to win the conference as well. The benefits in recruiting Miami is seeing due to their top 10 ranking and success on the football field, while rivals Florida State and Florida struggle, could lead to the U taking over the state once again, like they did back in the day when it was all about the U. At the time of recording, Miami currently has a 12th ranked recruiting class according to 24/7 Sports Composite, while Florida has the 21st best class and Florida State has the 30th best class. Florida and Florida State's recruiting rankings could continue to get worse as their train wreck of a season continues, especially if one or both choose to fire their head coach. 24/7 Sports' Brian Doan said, Miami is far ahead of Florida and Florida State in recruiting at the high school level. And because of the mentality that Coach Mario Cristobal brings to recruiting, there's no reason to think it will change. The Hurricanes are relentless in going after high school prospects, have an NIL plan, and know how to use the transfer portal to supplement their roster rather than rely heavily on it to build a roster. The separation is already in place, and Miami's staff has the work ethic to keep it going. Even when Miami and Florida were down, Florida State was unable to take advantage under Mike Norvell, as when Cristobal was hired, they still finished ahead of the Seminoles in the recruiting ranking. Miami has been building for this year and for the future over the past few years, as they finished with the 7th best recruiting class in 2023 and the 4th best recruiting class in 2024. While their in-state rivals struggle to become bowl eligible, Miami is currently fighting for the college football playoff spot. Mario Cristobal era did not start off as strong as many thought as it would, and there have been some concerns with the 12-13 record heading into this year. But Cristobal is a program builder who is an elite recruiter. He still relies on high school recruitment rather than quick roster overhaul fixes the transfer portal provides. Cristobal has built a culture of just doing your job and executing. Through 2 years of elite recruiting, great transfer portal pickups, and tremendous coaching staff selections, we're being introduced to what an elite college football program should look like in 2024. There are no crazy gimmicks being done down in Miami, and Cristobal isn't trying to make headlines. He wants to win the trenches and take your will to win away. Controversial win or not on Friday, Miami still gutted it out, and it could be their wake-up call for the rest of the season. The Hurricanes look scary this year, and the U could be back. What do you think? How well do you think Miami does the rest of the season? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.